Okay, and I guess you were like running errands for your brother.
Yeah.
That's when you got discovered?
Yeah. Well, it was just the simple thing like he pulls up to the front, Omar, go run into my agent and grab this script for me. And I run in and grab it. It's just the first time she saw me, a little kid smiling and beaming. I'm here to pick up a script for my brother. And she's like, goodness, you are bubbly. You have a lot of energy, you know. How would you like to be an actor? And I was like, the funniest is so wild because I'd never thought about being it. I'm 9, you know what I mean? I think it was probably 8 at the time. And I remember watching Star Search, not Kids Star Search, but regular Star Search. And they had a section for kids. And 2 kids came out and they sat at a table and looked across each other and spoke, hey, hello, how are you today? Da, da, da. And they got up and walked off. And they were like, next, that was a great scene from blah, blah, blah. How many stars did they get? And I was like, that's acting? And that's like the only thought I had at being a kid. But I remember looking, going, I could do that. So she gave me a shot, you know, no training, no classes. I think I was in a couple talent shows before then, if anything. And I went on an audition for 2 things in one day. One was like for some TV show. I don't even remember the name, but I know I was terrified. It was in a high-rise building. Everybody knew their lines. I'm shaking, you know. And then later on that day, I had another audition for an industrial film for McGruff the Crime Dog. And I wound up booking it, you know. So I was just like, okay, 2. A lot of people take forever before they land their first thing. I had 2 in one day and then wound up booking one. So for me, I was bitten early.
McGruff the crime dog.
McGruff the crime dog.
You're the police, basically from jump. You're the feds.
From jump, from off rip. I was telling on somebody. There's somebody trying to sell drugs.
You're snitching from the start.
Yeah, snitching from the start. Say no.
Okay, and now you're in the game. Now you got your first official booking.
Right.
And your mom becomes your manager.
Yes, my momager. Yes, early. Yes.
There we go. Okay, now you're off to the races. And I guess your first TV role was Webster?
I believe so. Yeah. Yeah. That was my first taste of auditioning. And it's funny to me because I didn't have anyone to kind of tell me this is what you do. And my brother was already trying to do his own thing, but it was me and my mom. And she's like, we got to do something special to stand out. So I remember when I auditioned for this role, it was for an episode called The Web Touchables, where all of the characters in the show play grown-ups, like the Untouchables, wear little mustaches and whatnot, and we're shooting pies out of a gun and whatnot. So for the audition, I just played the announcer. Welcome to the Sammy Club. This is such and such and such and such. And you know, what we did was we took a microphone that had the cord, stuck it in my little jacket, and when I showed up for the audition, they said, all right, what's your name? Omar Gooding. Okay, all right, ready, and action. And I pulled this microphone out of my pocket, the cord hits the floor, and now, and they all start laughing and falling on the floor. And I booked it, you know, and that let me know early that you got to do something creative. You got to stand out in some kind of way, especially if you look at the role and it tells you, we want this, this, this. Okay, you walk in the audition room, you see all these kids looking the same way. Let's change it up. Do something, you know what I mean? So yeah, no, that was definitely fun, man. But that was the first big one for me, Webster.
Well, and then after that, you got a role in the movie Ghost Dad, starring Bill Cosby. His name was gold back then.
Yeah, it was all gravy back then.
Bill
baby.
Cosby was the height of the height.
Man, and it's fun. You know, it's so funny. Everything you bring up has a story behind it. I'm gonna speed this one up for you. When I auditioned for Ghost Dad, I remember Sidney Poitier was there, and it was the longest audition I've ever had in my life. He had me crawling on the floor and standing on the table, and he was like, now come around the corner. Now I want to see fear, you know. And I'm like, yeah, and I'm scared, I'm falling, I'm fake fainting and all this stuff. And when I left, I just remember thinking, I know I booked that. I mean, I was in there forever. And they called and told my mom that I didn't get it. And I talked to her and I said, this is crazy. I don't know how I went through all of that and they had me crawling and doing all this stuff. I just knew I booked it. She's like, yeah, well, let me find out. Which was, you know, odd. You know, usually whatever the agent says, they say. But she calls down there and speaks to one of the casting directors about it. And then they was like, brief hold, came back. And they're like, you know what? We'll bring him back in one more time. And they probably, that never happens. Yeah, I mean, I don't advise people to try that. But then again, you know, it worked out. And they wound up screen testing. And then they were like, yeah, no, you're right. And then he books the job. Imagine that.
Right. And Sidney Poitier was the director.
Absolutely.
Of that. Yeah. And that movie didn't do all that well.
No, that was the tail end of Bill Cosby's,
right.
You know, run in movies. I think he did like Leonard Part 6 or something like that, and then Ghost Dad. And it was just like
another stinker.
Yeah, another stinker. Yeah.
Okay. Any interesting Bill Cosby stories while working on it?
Not really. I mean, for me, it was just I've seen all the Cosby shows, and I'm a super big fan, and I'm nervous as hell. But I do remember the first day he walked up. We were filming outside, and it was like the scene where I walk up with the bike, and he was just talking so casually and so nice and warm that all of the jitters just went away immediately. So for funny thing is that's as far as that goes. As far as I was filming, everything I thought was great. But you know what's crazy? I was doing I put together a documentary. Again, another interview. And I talked to my brother about being interviewed for my documentary. And he told me a story that my mom also told me. And I thought, you know, you're getting old. That didn't happen. And she said, you should tell, if your brother's going to be in your doc, he needs to tell you about the story that happened on Ghost Dad. And I'm like, what was it? So I talked to him. He said, oh man. So he explained what happened was he comes to me while I'm filming and he goes, hey man, you're doing great. I think you should smile. And all of a sudden, Sidney Poitier yells across, stop talking to my actor. What is wrong with you? Get off the stage now. I want you out of here. And the PA walks him all the way to my trailer and he has to sit there for the rest of the time. So I was like, damn, are you serious? He's like, you don't remember that? I'm like, no, I don't. I honestly don't. But obviously it's something he never forgot. And I'm like, well, I'm sure that came full circle one day. And yes, you know, when he got his Oscar, they took the nice Oscar picture with him and Sidney Poitier, I think, like Denzel. So
yeah, Poitier never directed after that. That was pretty much his last.
Was that it?
I think that was it. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
That was it.
So I hope one does.
And you know, I mean, Sidney's a legend.
Yeah,
an absolute legend in this business.
Right.